Hey guys, I'm Chris.
And I'm Olivia, and today we're starting a brand new series on creation.
Creation. When I hear that word, I get so excited because I think about how amazing it is that God simply spoke and He created everything.
Yeah, and when we create something like a painting or a computer game, we need the stuff to make it. Like for a painting, we need a brush and paint, and a computer game, we need a computer. But God spoke and He created everything perfectly.
Totally. Let's watch this video and learn more about how God created everything.
Which pet makes the loudest noise? A trumpet. Hey everyone, Alyssa here. I am so excited to be sharing the story of creation with you guys today. Now, I don't know how many of you guys like to create. Maybe you like to play with Legos or draw, or maybe you've even created your own website before. Well, for me, I like to knit. That might seem kind of like an old person thing, but hey, I like to do it. It's a lot of fun. But when I first learned how to knit, it was really hard. You have to make sure that you count all your stitches, you don't drop any or you'll get a hole, you don't add any or your scarf will start getting wider and wider. It's a lot to keep track of. But the first time I finished my scarf, I was so excited because I had worked so hard. I'd made mistakes and had to go back and retry again. But at the end, I had this beautiful scarf and I was so pumped. This reminds me of today's big idea, which is that God spoke and He created everything perfectly. God didn't have to re-explain Himself or go for any redos. He just spoke and boom, there was perfection. Today, we're gonna look at the story of creation from Genesis 1, verses 1 to 25. Let's start with a verse that most of us would know. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So before there was anything else, there was God. This story actually teaches us a lot of really cool things about God. Like God lives outside of time. God created time along with everything else. This always blows my mind, but that's just how amazing God is. The Bible goes on to tell us that the earth had no shape. It was empty and dark, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. In my mind, I just imagined God floating. He was just there. Let's read what happens next. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good. He separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day and the darkness night. That was day one. Did you notice what God did? He just spoke what He wanted and it came to be. That's how amazing and powerful God is. Next, God spoke and He separated the water below from the water above, the seas from the sky and the clouds. That was day two. Next, God spoke and He gathered all the water into one place so that dry land could appear. He created the land and the oceans. He saw it and said that it was good. Next, God spoke to create plants and trees and fruits and vegetables. Think of how creative God is to create things like bananas and apples and strawberries and pomegranates and mangoes. It's amazing. Now God saw all of this and said that it was good. That was day three. Next, God spoke. Are you seeing a pattern here yet? He spoke and He created the sun, the moon, and the stars. Now think of how big and powerful and warm the sun is. God just spoke it into being. That is so cool. God saw this and said that it was good. That was day four. Next, God spoke and created the birds of the sky and the fish and creatures in the water. Think about it. God spoke and He created birds like eagles, peacocks, and penguins, owls, hawks. God spoke and created octopi, whales, and dolphins, and sharks, and even those tiny little minnow fish and your goldfish at home. That was day five. Next, God spoke to create all the animals: lions, bears, antelopes, skunks, squirrels, and all the rest. God saw that and said that it was good. God just had to speak, and out of His creative mind came all of these amazing things. So here's the short version. God spoke and He created everything. He only needed His creative self to create our beautiful world. Basically, God is awesome. There are many different ideas of how the story of creation actually went down. Were these actual days like we know them now, or long periods of time? Maybe this is a poem to help us remember how God created the world. What we do know is this: God did it. He created everything perfectly. Unlike you and me, when we're making a craft and maybe make a lot of mistakes and have to go back and redo it, God didn't have to do any of that. He just spoke and it was there. And that's today's big idea, that God spoke and He created everything perfectly. This has been so much fun, guys. I will catch you next time.
We want you to turn to the person next to you and see if you can answer these questions before the time runs out.
Question time. Have you ever imagined what it was like as God created everything? what do you think it would have been like?
I love what Alyssa said there. God didn't have to do any redos. He simply spoke and boom, there was perfection.
I agree, and think of this, like it takes scientists years and years of research to figure out what the specific benefit for a plant species is and how we as humans can use it. But God created those plants in a heartbeat by simply speaking it into existence.
Totally. And since we're talking about speaking something into existence, let's check out this video of Jordan and how he uses his words to create.
We serve a God who is incredibly creative. He created creativity. Because God used words as his way of creating, as his way of changing reality, to me it's so exciting and so cool to be able to partner with him and use words as my chosen art form. My name is Jordan, and among other things, I am a poet, an MC, a spoken word artist. That's a big piece of who I am, something I'm very passionate about. You got a song in your heart? Play it loud. A compliment to drop in a neighbor? Say it now. The kinds of words and actions that's making them raise a brow. Take a bow, faithful servant, and make it creative proud. So some songs that I write will spark out of just hearing a beat. And then words and word rhythms will just come to me. And I don't know where it's headed, I don't know what message it's gonna be, but it will just develop as I think through it and as I vibe to the music. Other times, I'll start with a destination in mind, a theme or a topic that I want to talk about, and just as I jot out in non-rhyming format, just ideas to start off with and get me on the right foot, those things will just develop along with the music. And then other times, I might just have a conversation with somebody or read a book and hear or read a syllable pattern that's just intriguing to me. Years ago, I was in a Bible study and someone was trying to say that without God, we're all equally helpless. That's how much we need him. And he just said the words equally helpless. It just hit me like a drum pattern. So I came home and turned that into a line in a rap that I wrote where I said, we say give love, seek to be selfless, but check the track record, man, we're equally helpless. As I look around my surroundings right now, I'm seeing things as finely detailed as tiny ants and leaves and blades of grass, flowers, poison ivy, watch out. But also on the larger scale, just seeing the beauty of the skyline, seeing clouds, seeing the sun rise and set. All of these things point to the creative power of the God that we serve who spoke it all into existence. And that same creative power is infused into our DNA as God's children. He wants to partner with us in creating and bringing more and more beauty into this world, into our surroundings.
I ain't nervous about the future, a sign seal. Deliver the predicament we in isn't ideal, but dig it, got the privilege of catching all these glimpses into heaven as the visions manifesting. I'll be dreaming with eyes peeled. Yo, Jay, tell them what we doing, man. I'm dreaming. My homie gon' get saved, cause I know he's coming back up. I'm dreaming.
Question time. How did you see Jordan's story connect with the big idea? We can use words in many different ways, both good and bad. How have you seen your words impact other people?
That video was super cool. I love how Jordan found his story in God's bigger story.
Totally. It's amazing to see how God gave Jordan this creativity and how he's using it to serve Jesus.
So let's break into our small groups now and see what this looks like in your own story.